Hey, Billy from Perma Pastures Farm. If anybody's been watching me on Patreon or listening to our podcast called the Permaculture Pimpcast, you probably know as of late I've been spending an awful lot of time talking about biohacking. Now, what is that? Well, for me as a farmer, it might look a little bit differently than from a lot of other people out there that are, doing this. Now, I'm going to show you how I do it, because the number one complaint I get from so many people out there that say they can't do it is how much time is devoted in doing it. So we're going to talk about my routine, and Michelle does pretty much the same sort of thing, minus the coffee, but I'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to show you my routine and how little time it takes. All right, before I even get to this point, the first thing I do every single morning when I wake up, before my feet even touch the floor, I'm thanking the good Lord for his mercy, his blessings, and good night. I mean, look at the world we live in, all right? As soon as I get out, what I used to do is go out there and reach for the coffee. And I'll be honest with y'all, of all the hacks that I'm going to show you today, that is the one thing that has been the most difficult for me to stop doing. So basically, I delay my coffee intake if I'm going to have some. Well, it's not if, but when I have it, for at least 2 to 3 hours. Some people say 60 to 90 minutes. If you wait till later in the day, you'll find out that your dopamine there's a dopamine reset thing that happens. I don't understand all of it. I just took the advice of somebody else, and I found out that if I delay the coffee intake, that I don't have these crashes later on in the day. I thought it was crazy, but it works. Okay, so after I do all that, I go out there and I make a list. The list that I'm going to do for the day, and it's basically a power list. Hat tip to Andy Frisella. So I get out there and make my power list of the things, the critical tasks that have to be done that day. Doesn't take long at all, maybe a couple of minutes. Then I sit right about here, put my feet on a grounding mat. You don't have to have a grounding mat, you can go outside. And remember, in permaculture, we stack functions. So all of these hacks, as many as I can, I try to stack the function. So now, not only was I sleeping on a grounded bed, which I've talked about before, has grounded sheets, all of which I got from Redemption Shield. I get on this grounded mat, put my bare feet on it, and then I take these ear pods, or not ear pods, but whatever these earphone things are, stick it into my ear, and now I listen to the audio Bible while doing Wim Hof breathing. 3 rounds of 30 breaths while doing Wim Hof breathing, okay? It's not gonna stop there. And then afterwards or before, I'll actually go back out there in the kitchen, get on my knees and actually pray. I do all this in private while nobody else is around and nobody else is awake. So, with that said, this is how it goes. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that as often as I can, based on one of the last videos you saw, I turn that Wi-Fi off at night, and on my phone, it is in airplane mode, unless absolutely positively I need it to download something. And then when I'm out here, with him, of course, interrupting every single chance he gets, this is where I'm going to do my meditation. Now, some people will choose to do this right off. I usually do it after. And it all comes down to, it basically comes down to how much time I have. You can do it before and after. I find out that this is another thing I can stack while being outside getting the morning sun. Now, you want some of that morning sun because you're getting all the benefits of the rays. You're going to hear debate on how much you should get, but I get as much as I possibly can. And the days I don't, I'm supplementing with vitamin D3 and K2, okay? But like I said, I'm stacking functions. So I'm going to sit out here once again, no shoes on, bare feet, no matter how cold it is, and I'm going to get that morning sun, and this time I'm going to meditate for 15 minutes using one of the online resources from Dr. Joe Dispenza. It's like a 15-minute meditation, and anybody can do it. So if you're thinking, okay, well, I don't necessarily live on a farm, or I don't have this, I don't have that, folks, you can find anywhere. I mean, a lot of you that are going to a regular 9-to-5 job, Look, you can find time to do it there. I guarantee it. I mean, I can go through all the latest statistics about how much people are actually working during the day. Well, if you can, on your time, try to allocate 15 minutes to do some serious deep breathing. And you can do it, not only deep breathing, but also the meditation. Sometimes I do the deep breathing 2 and 3 times a day. For sure, I do it once in the morning. Ain't that right, boy? Yeah, he's giving me an amen. And then, of course, this is something else I got to factor in, is because the greatest Pyrenees, when I'm over here doing my meditation, it is a guarantee he's going to come up. He's not going to paw at me right now like he normally does, but he does it because he knows we're filming. I'm not kidding, y'all. Every single time we're filming, guess who shows up? But once again, back to the meditation. So there are other programs guided out there. Some of it might be a little woo-woo for you. I know a lot of them are for me. But what I'm doing during that meditation, even in Psalm 1, in his law doth he meditate day and night. Well, a lot of it in that meditation, I'm actually praying. And it can be tailor-made to whatever you need. But I'm putting myself in another state of mind, and it helps when you make your eyes closed. Because in your mind, it's a feeling of safety. So you automatically realize that your blood pressure goes down, everything goes down. And when I'm grounding all at the same time, I'm told by medical experts that if you were to take your blood and look at it under a dark field microscopy, you'd find out that all your red blood cells are kind of clumped together. And then literally moments after you put your feet on the ground, some say it doesn't even take maybe 6 minutes a day, you'll find out that they separate, basically enabling you to do way more. In fact, try this experiment. I talked about it earlier. When you do your deep breathing, try it one morning without ever having grounded yourself, okay? And let's say if you're doing Wim Hof breathing, you're able to hold your breath for, let's say, 2 minutes. Now, try that same Wim Hof breathing with yourself grounded and find out how much further you can hold that breath. It'll absolutely shock you. That, for me, is proof that this stuff works. All right, let's talk about one of the other hacks, one of the newer hacks that I've actually incorporated into this routine. All right, this ain't going to be like that other video where I took my shirt off and I was out doing chores, okay? This is totally different. And this is the newest hack that, I'll be honest with you, I was really reluctant about doing any of it because it sucks and it doesn't get any easier. And that's the cold showers. Okay, you got some people out there saying, oh, you need 32 degrees, you need this, you need that. Generally, the information I'm getting is anything about around 50 degrees, which when it comes out of a well and where we live right now, it's pretty doggone close to 50 degrees. Not quite, but it's pretty close. Now, the idea, from what I understand, is anywhere between 3 to 6 minutes. Not even going to kid y'all. I've done it before. I'm getting myself back into it. But what I'm finding out is that if I do this in the morning after the chores, you feel like $1,000,000. And I mean up here. There may be some other things that are going on. I know people like Wim Hof have talked about all the wonderful benefits of taking a cold shower. I've done them in the past, stopped doing them, and now I'm getting myself back into it because honestly, from a mental state, you feel like $1,000,000. So this is one of the latest hacks I'm putting in. Let's talk about one of these others that I might have invented. Strangely enough, the last hack is going to involve this. And yes, I've been very, very critical about it. And like I said, whenever I'm not using it, it is in airplane mode, but I don't trust it. Let me tell you how this accounts to where we are in the bedroom. First of all the sheets and everything I'm using in here basically is provided by Redemption Shield. I've got a link down below, promo code Perma. And I'm going to show you how this little Faraday bag comes in handy. Put it on airplane mode, and because I don't trust it, because I know it can't be trusted, I stick it inside that Faraday bag, and I put my earphones in. Now, I know that sounds crazy. Why would I do that? Some people would call it self-hypnosis. Many people would argue that in your early life, up until 7 or 8 years old, you were trained because your mind was mostly in what some call a theta state, okay? Now, if you were trained in that state, can you retrain yourself to think otherwise? Maybe some of those awful negative thoughts you might have? Well, I believe so. So there's one of two ways you can go about this, and I've done both. One of them, I have the King James Bible overlaid with whole tones music. Or there's another guy that plays a harp. And what I mean by that is all the music you hear playing on the radio right now is basically in 440 hertz. There's a whole sordid history about how we got there. Well, there are some that believe that King David actually tuned his harp to 444 hertz, and also things like 528. There's a number of other healing frequencies out there that many of the so-called learned people would call pseudoscience. I know that it's not, because honestly, I can hear this stuff, be in the worst mood ever, listen to this music in this frequency and feel like $1,000,000, okay? So I've basically taken that music and overlaid it with the King James Bible. I've also taken another version where I've overlaid it with me talking to me. Sounds crazy, right? Like I said, when you're on that brink of going into a theta state, which the experts apparently say that happens when you're right on the brink of going to sleep. People like Edison and a number of others actually knew this back in the day, but that's another story altogether. And that's where they supposedly came up with some of their great ideas. So anyway, right when I'm on that theta state, I'm listening to either the word with these healing frequencies, or I'm listening to me talk to me about the things I want to change in what I do up here, how I think, how I respond. Basically, all the things that I'm thinking about in a meditation that is honestly working like $1,000,000, all those things I'm doing as I'm going unconscious. Why not? But like I said, Redemption Shield, this thing is going to go right into this Redemption Shield Faraday bag as I go to sleep while it's on airplane mode. Does it work? Is it safe? Yeah, I've tested it. It absolutely works. So that's exactly how I go about it. Look, y'all, there's a bunch of them out there. Have you noticed the overlying theme in all of this? Almost nothing here costs you a dime. It can. You can pay money for a grounding mat. You can pay money for grounding sheets. You can pay money for these beds where they hit you with this red light therapy, I think is what they call it. You can spend money for all that, but you can do most of this without even paying a single dime. How many of us these days are worried about the things that are going on in D.C.? Yeah, I'm guilty as anybody else. Or things going overseas. Worried about all these things that we can't possibly do anything about. Those polecats in Washington are calling the shots. You can't. But you know what? I can call the shots what happens up here and what happens here in this house. At least for now. So while I got that opportunity, I'm going to take full advantage of it. Look, here's the best part, and I save the best for last. Everything I just told you there, how much time in your day do you think that takes up? For me, honestly, it takes about 30 minutes to do the lion's share of that. You're going to take a shower anyway. Okay, so you got that one covered. Some of these other things you're going to do anyway. I'm a farmer. I work outside all day, so I'm getting that vitamin D. Some of you don't. But how many of these things can you tailor make in your life to make it work on your job, in your home, whatever circumstances you have, y'all? There are options out there. And honestly, Michelle and I have been doing this now for a while, and to say I feel better would be a massive understatement. I really feel the difference when I don't or forget to do this stuff. So honestly, it works. It works like $1,000,000, y'all. Go give it a shot. Let me know how it works for you. If you got a biohack of your own, let me know down below, because I want to know about all these things. There's other things you can do too, vitamins, all these other things that I'm not even going to cover. I'm just talking about the simple things that might take you out of the regular step of your day just that much. All right, y'all. Hopefully this was a blessing to you. Need anything from us like the Redemption Shield I was talking about? Check it out down below. Check us out at the website. You'll be glad you did. Everybody, thank you so much for your support. We'll see you next time.